Let's go overseas now. Joining me live now is former White House Chief of Staff and Bondi Partners consultant Mick Mulvaney. Great to see you. We haven't spoken for a little while, but Trump is always quite interesting. But what has happened in the meantime, Mick Mulvaney, is that Joe Biden has officially announced with a glossy video that he is seeking another 4 years.
He has, Laura, and it's good to see you again. Sorry to have been away. Very unusual for a president to announce his reelection in a video only, and that's already starting to raise some issues here about whether or not Joe Biden will be up to the campaign. I think he's put one issue to bed, which is whether or not he is going to run. And of course, that forces, now that he's announced, it forces all of the potential Democrat challengers to the side for at least the next 4 years. But the fact that he did not give a press conference, that he did not even give a live speech, that they did a pre-packaged video, is continuing to raise those questions about his ability to campaign in the upcoming year and a half.
Yeah, he's at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. He poked a bit of fun at himself. He poked a bit of fun at his age, and also the fact that he doesn't take questions very often.
Yeah, that's a fun event, especially if you're a Democrat. It's a very Democrat-leaning crowd, and he got a good laugh line when he said, "I'm going to do the same thing I've always done, which is talk for 10 minutes, not answer any questions, and then leave." And he got a good laugh line at that. But again, it works in Washington, D.C. It works with the media here in the U.S., but it's unclear as to how that's going to play out on the campaign trail.
Yeah, it certainly is. Well, we've just reported that Donald Trump is back in Scotland visiting one of his golf courses, and Ron DeSantis, one of his challengers, has been doing a bit of a world tour. How's that going down?
Yeah, they're sort of chasing each other around the planet. They were both in, I think, New Hampshire together last week. They're both around the world this week. DeSantis's trip is not being extraordinarily well received. There's been some negative press saying that he's come off somewhat flat. Keep in mind, it's hard for a governor of Florida to sort of find an excuse to do a around-the-world trip anyway. It's somewhat contrived, I suppose, if you had to be honest with yourself on it. But it's also very difficult to do. Anybody who's traveled around the world watching this program knows you're very rarely at your freshest when you land. And when you're a politician, you're expected to be 100% all of the time. So some of the reports have been less than glowing about Ron's first trip overseas as sitting Florida governor. Yeah,
I've seen a bit of commentary around him being an angry bobblehead. I'm not quite sure what that's all about as well. But you're right, he's getting a lot more exposure, and it's not all complimentary. How do you think this goes feeding into, before the next election? Because he hasn't officially announced yet, has he, that he would be a candidate?
It's the right time. It's the right time to do it. It doesn't surprise me that he's taking the trip now before he's announced, because, again, we're a long way away from even the first debates. I think they're now talking about the first presidential debate in August of this year, so 4 months out or so. So it's the right time to do it. It's perhaps a good practice run. Do I think at the end of the day it hurts DeSantis? No, it does sort of create a narrative here he's going to have to work through. It will raise some small question marks with some of his donors, but I'm sure that once he's back on his home territory in Florida, there'll be plenty of opportunity for him to begin the campaign anew domestically.